the vast majority of your design work is done in this space you see here, model space. I have it set with a dark background here, and I'll leave it at that, although you could go to View and Background Colour and change it to white if you like. So we do the majority of our design work in this space, but when we want to lay the design out or present it, it's presented, of course, on a sheet of paper. In the US environment, that might be the C or D size sheets. In the metric environment, that might be the A series of sheets. And the tabs across the bottom of the screen flip us into this layout space. And in this design, I have 3 of them. So here's a design, or a layout if you like, for the design of the rear garden, and I've labelled the tab C sheet rear garden. It's a design from the US. In order to position what I see inside the floating viewport, the floating viewport is that entity that sits on layout space and in a sense is a porthole into the design. And I'll just zoom out a little here, and you may be able to see that there are some handles on the corner, a handle in the middle, so you can use those handles to move the presentation around. You can reduce the size if you like, and that might leave you space, in fact, to add other floating viewports. You can add another viewport by right-clicking and saying I want to add a viewport. So a viewport, any number of viewports, can be placed on a sheet, although usually you'll have one. And when you create a new layout, let's just quickly do that, layout, and pick new, you can see you get the choice of sheets in the various sizes. This, we might go for architectural D size sheet here, a large sheet, and we can choose landscape. I'll leave the name at layout 1. Can you see that adds another tab? So if I switch to layout 1 and right click and go zoom extents, by default there's a grid on, and I'll come down to the status line and turn that off. The floating viewport is created automatically and drawn in the current colour. I'll select it now, and you get a lot of information about that viewport in the properties box on the left. In order to adjust the viewport, you can, and what is contained within it, you can double click and you get this box. We're back into model space now. We're told that because the view name is model. And what I might do then is want to change the size of that view box, and I'll just put it over the back garden area. Then right click and say I'm going to display on the layout. There's a slight trick to this stage in that the floating viewport is indicated with a dotted mark. To get rid of that dotted line type, just double click anywhere in the design and that will disappear. So to reiterate, to set it, double click there. We could increase the size a little. We could just position things a little differently. You can see I'm just moving things around, then right click and display on the layout. If I try and select the viewport there, I can, and right click, I can deactivate it. But a much quicker way of doing that, let's do it again, is to say display it on the layout and then just double click in here, and the highlighted or dotted area then disappears. So let's experiment a little more with that magenta viewport box by double clicking on it, and we'll get hold of the handles in the middle and we'll rotate our view approximately to 270, and what I'll then do is come into this little area here and display on the layout. Double click there. Can you see where we've got it is a little confusing. We have a landscape size sheet, and if we double click, I've got a portrait orientation of the box. So let's display on the layout, double click again. What we'll do now is right click on layout, go to the layouts manager, and we'll change this paper size to portrait and OK it. Now we've change the paper size, we can now pick our viewport and change it like so. Move it maybe down a little and double click again to dive into the box, and I'll now rotate vertically again and display on the layout, and double click again, so that if we select the viewport, you can see its view angle is in fact 0, and I can move like so. So can you see that you can mix up paper orientation, paper size, the orientation of the view that we are making a view of what's in model space, just by learning to control and easily manage that viewport. Another thing you are able to do is, if you select the viewport there and right click, you can alter viewport layers. So we have a little box here, and we can turn layers on or off. Now let's just cancel from there, and we'll find something in the drawing that we can turn off rather easily. So we don't want to activate the viewport. I've just hit the escape key. We'll go back to the model. We're working in this little area through here. If we pick this symbol for a Weigelia, it's on a layer called L planting. So just for the sake of argument, and it's quite a spurious argument I think, we wanted to turn off the layer, the L planting layer. Right click and go to viewport layers and say click in there. We're now turning that layer off, and you can see in fact all of the planting bar this little group here, and the hedge around there disappears. So maybe that little group there represents existing planting. We'll just have a look at it and see what layer it's on. It's this group here, I think, and it's on a layer L plant existing. I'll just widen that. So that helps a great deal, I think. One other thing you might notice is when I pick that Weigelia there, notice that because it's been tagged in the accompanying plant database file, which is called Richard M, it's tagged with, let me do that again, if I click in here, we see the botanical name and common name of that particular, that's been assigned to that symbol. So I hope that helps explain in a little more detail how you manage floating viewports on a layout. I'll just finish by taking this one, making it a lot smaller, and just demonstrate that we can right click and make a new viewport through here like so, and can you see that all of the layers are on in that new viewport, whereas we were able to turn at least one layer off in that zone below, in that floating viewport below. So we've got a lot of power in the layout space for you. We'd love to see some examples of work where you are using that, and we'd like to put those up into our training materials if you feel so inclined.